Welcome, everyone. Today we're telling some stories from the darker side of the music world. You know the usual narrative, rock stars, excess, the tragic early deaths. We all know about the 27 Club. It's almost this grim legend, right? Artists burning out too fast. But sometimes the stories aren't that simple. Sometimes the ending is just the start of a really disturbing mystery. That's what we're sharing with you today. We've got a few lesser-known but deeply unsettling, unsolved cases from music history. These are often overshadowed, maybe, by the bigger tragedies, but they're just as baffling, haunting, really.
Exactly. We're not just skimming headlines here. We want to get into the unsettling details, the suspicious bits, the questions that just hang there. What really happened when the music suddenly stopped? Why do some of these stories still feel so unresolved?
Okay, let's dive into our first one. Elliott Smith, an incredible singer-songwriter. You might know his music, really melancholic, beautiful stuff. He got an Oscar nomination for Miss Misery from Good Will Hunting. His music's even popped up in shows like Rick and Morty, Finding a New Audience. But his own story, it took a really dark turn in late 2003. His girlfriend found him. Well, she came back after they argued and found him dying. He didn't make it. Now, on the surface, maybe it looked like a tragic but almost expected end. He struggled with addiction, talked about self-harm.
Right. The initial reports pointed towards suicide. It seemed to fit a pattern, sadly.
But the details that came out later, they paint a very different picture. His girlfriend said he was standing with his back to her. Then he turned slowly, and she saw this large knife sticking out of his chest, right in the heart.
It's a horrifying image. And while technically self-stabbing to the heart isn't impossible in suicides, it's extremely rare, usually involves hesitation marks. But what the investigators found, well, it quickly made them think foul play was a very real possibility, even without absolute proof. There were four key things, really, that just didn't line up with the suicide idea. First, like I said, no hesitation wounds. Those smaller cuts you often see, they weren't there. That's a big red flag.
Okay, so no hesitation wounds. What else?
Second, his hands. They showed what looked like defensive wounds, like he was trying to fight something off.
Defensive wounds? Wow.
Then the clothing. The knife went through his shirt. Most people committing suicide this way, they lift their shirt, right, to find the spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't stab through fabric if you could help it.
Exactly. And maybe the most disturbing part, the knife went in not once, but twice.
Twice? How's that even possible? If the first wound was fatal.
It seems almost physically impossible. That really weighed on the investigators. It just screamed something else happened.
So despite no hard proof, these details, they cast a huge shadow. His family still believes his girlfriend was involved, don't they?
They do. Very strongly. She denies it completely, of course.
How does an investigation even proceed then? With accusations but inconclusive forensics.
That's the crux of it. It becomes this battle of narratives. The physical evidence is suspicious, points one way, but maybe isn't definitive enough for charges. It leaves the case in this awful limbo. Right. And it really shows how a story of self-destruction, even with inconsistencies, can just stick. Leaves so many questions.
Okay, shifting gears now. From a death filled with doubt to, well, a presence that haunted the king himself. Elvis Presley. Most people don't know this, but Elvis had a twin brother, Jesse. Tragically, Jesse died during childbirth.
Yeah, the detail often missed, but it had a massive impact on Elvis. There's this thing called the twinless twin phenomenon. It's this profound sense of loss, of something missing, that twins who lose their sibling often feel, even if they never knew them. For Elvis, it was. Well, it seemed like a lifetime of guilt. He felt like a part of him was gone. He even talked about Jesse, Said he heard his voice, saw him in dreams, believed Jesse communicated with him.
Wow, like a constant presence.
Many twinless twins feel responsible somehow. Elvis apparently felt he'd survived to Jesse's extent, that he had to live for both of them.
That's heavy. There's some wilder theories too, right? That Jesse didn't actually die.
Oh yeah, the speculation is out there that maybe because the Presleys were so poor, Jesse was secretly given away or sold to a wealthier family.
Is there any actual evidence for that, or is it just rumor?
It's mostly conjecture. Compelling, given their poverty, but no real proof. Infant mortality was high then, sadly. The real mystery for Elvis was internal, how this phantom twin shaped him.
So how did it shape him? His career, his drive? Was Jesse part of that?
Many believe so, that maybe Jesse was this driving force behind the music, the connection with audiences. Like he had to succeed for both of them. And maybe, conversely, that unresolved guilt played into his struggles later in life.
It's a chilling thought. The king, maybe living out a destiny meant for two. There's that story near the end of his life in 77 about a dream he had.
Oh, yeah. It's quite poignant. He dreamt he and Jesse were on stage together, a concert. He said they were dressed alike, white jumpsuits, matching guitars, two spotlights. And Elvis apparently said, man, he was a spitting image of me, and then added, Jesse had a way better voice than me.
Wow. Creepy and kind of heartbreaking all at once. A spectral duet. Okay, let's move to another name, maybe less known now, but huge in his time. Bobby Fuller. 60s musician, famous for his version of I Fought the Law. A really promising career, but it was cut short. 1966. He was only 23. And the way he was found, it was horrific. In his car, outside his Hollywood apartment, covered in bruises, face, chest, and doused in gasoline.
Just awful. And what makes it truly bizarre is the LAPD's reaction. Despite this incredibly violent, suspicious scene, they ruled it a suicide. Really quickly. Almost instantly.
A suicide, doused in gasoline with bruises all over him. How?
Exactly. They apparently didn't even dust for prints properly, didn't do thorough interviews. It just smells wrong.
So what pointed away from suicide other than the obvious?
Well, a couple of major things. Rigor mortis. His body was already quite stiff, but his car had supposedly only been parked there for maybe half an hour before his mother found him.
So he must have died hours earlier. Somewhere else.
It certainly looks that way. Died long before the car showed up. And second, no keys in the ignition.
No keys. So who drove
Yarn.
the car there? Who put his body inside?
Precisely. It just doesn't fit suicide at all. It screams foul play, maybe even a staged scene.
And this led to theories, right? Lots of them.
Oh yeah, dark ones. Some people pointed fingers at Charles Manson and his followers, who were active in LA then.
Manson, wow. What about other theories?
The mafia connection is a big one. Rumors he was involved with a mob-connected woman. His own brother, Randy Fuller, who was in the band, wrote a book. He claimed the mob was involved, that Bobby tried to get out of some kind of deal.
So the police, were they just negligent? Or maybe intimidated? Or worse?
That's the question that hangs over it all. Was it incompetence, fear, or something more sinister? We just don't know.
It's wide open. Another case where the official story just crumbles under scrutiny. Okay. Next up, a story about fame, pressure, and just vanishing. Richie Edwards, from the Welsh band Manic Street Preachers. Hailed as this incredible lyricist, poetic, political, the band was successful, he had fame, money, looked like the future was bright. But then, 1995, again, age 27, he disappeared. Just gone, never seen again.
It happened right before they were meant to fly to the U.S. for a tour, February 1st. He was supposed to be on that plane, but he checked out of his London hotel early, 7 a.m. Seems he drove to Cardiff instead.
And he had his struggles, didn't he? Depression, self-harm.
He did. Very publicly at times. There was that incident where he carved for real into his arm during an interview. Painful stuff.
So when his car was found abandoned near the Severn Bridge a couple of weeks later...
Yeah, the immediate thought was suicide. The bridge is a known spot, sadly. And the car looked like it had been lived in for a bit.
But it's not that clear-cut, is it?
Not at all. Again, details complicate things.
Yeah.
Why did he withdraw 2,800 pounds, quite a lot of cash back then, right before he vanished?
Yeah. You don't usually take out cash if you're planning that.
Right. And then there are the sightings. People claim they saw him at a passport office soon after. A taxi driver said he dropped him off somewhere else entirely. And years later, reports from the Canary Islands. Multiple sightings.
The Canary Islands. So could he have staged it? Faked his death?
It's a strong possibility. The official investigation wasn't great, apparently described as far from satisfactory. He was known to be struggling with stardom, the lifestyle, alcoholism, a stay in a psychiatric hospital not long before.
And he called his mom the day before, saying he didn't want to go to the U.S.
Yeah. It paints a picture of someone desperate to escape.
So did he succumb to his demons by the bridge? Or did he pull off an elaborate escape from a life he couldn't handle anymore?
We'll likely never know for sure. He was declared legally dead in 2008. Nobody ever found. Just an absence.
Okay, our final story tonight, a truly horrific end, and a case where justice was tragically thwarted. Peter Ivers, an alternative musician, maybe best known for writing that incredibly eerie song In Heaven from David Lynch's Eraserhead.
Yeah, In Heaven, Everything is Fine. Super creepy song, fits the film perfectly.
But his own death was anything but fine. 1983, he was 36, found bludgeoned to death with a hammer in his bed in his Hollywood apartment.
Horrific. And there were no signs of a struggle.
Whoa.
It seems he was killed while he was asleep.
Unimaginable. Someone breaks in and does that while you're asleep.
And the reason it's unsolved is just tragically ironic. Peter Ivers was really well-liked, lots of friends, many famous ones in Hollywood. When the news broke, people were devastated, and they flocked to his apartment. Dozens of people, maybe more. Warners, friends.
Oh, no, the crime scene.
Exactly. The police didn't secure it properly, all these people coming and going. Any crucial evidence, fingerprints, fibers, DNA possibilities, it was likely contaminated, trampled, destroyed, wiped away by grief, essentially.
So a compromise scene from the start. What was the likely motive then?
Probably robbery. That seems the most plausible explanation.
Yeah.
But the why of the murder itself is baffling. If he slept through it, why kill him? Was he disturbed? Did the robber panic? We don't know.
And because the evidence was compromised.
It's incredibly unlikely it will ever be solved now. The trail went cold almost immediately because the scene was ruined.
A chilling end. Justice denied by, in a way, the sheer number of people who cared about him. Wow, we've covered some really disturbing ground today. These stories from the music world, they definitely stick with you. Artists whose lives ended abruptly, mysteriously, leaving behind so many unanswered questions. Unfinished symphonies in a dark way.
Yeah, these cases, the suspicious deaths, the disappearances, the investigations that went wrong, they really show how shadows can linger, even under the brightest spotlights. Makes you question things about fame, about what goes on behind the scenes, and how hard it can be to find the truth sometimes.
Which of these stories resonates most with you listening? Is it the idea of Elvis's phantom twin? Richie Edwards maybe planning an escape? Or the tragedy of Peter Ivor's unsecured crime scene? It really makes you think about the secrets some artists carry, the darkness behind the music. Thanks for joining us on this unsettling journey. If these kinds of stories grab you, please do like this, share it, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. We dive into chilling stuff like this regularly. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, some echoes never fade.